Richard Belmont was the kind of man whose name echoed across corporate boardrooms and charity galas alike, a self-made billionaire, polished to perfection, and yet bound by his own deep-rooted suspicions about the people closest to him. His mansion, nestled in the green hills of Vermont, was an architectural marvel filled with glass walls, imported marble, and paintings that cost more than most people's homes. But beneath all the glamour and glitz lay a heart riddled with distrust, especially when it came to those he employed. After a string of unfortunate thefts during his early rise, Richard had developed a cynical rule: trust no one unless they've been tested. That rule, like many others, had helped build his empire. And now, it was about to shape a moment he would never forget. Among his household staff, there was one who stood out: Maria, a quiet, diligent maid in her late 20s who never spoke unless spoken to, never left a dish out of place, and whose eyes sparkled with humility and a quiet resilience. She had worked for Richard for just under a year, during which time she'd never taken a day off, never asked for a raise, and never once arrived late. To the other staff, she was a mystery. They didn't know where she came from, only that she lived in the servants' quarters behind the estate and sent most of her paycheck home every month. Her only visible indulgence was a worn-out necklace she always wore, a faded silver heart with a tiny picture inside. One day, after overhearing his head of security mention missing wine from the cellar, though it turned out to be misplaced by the chef, Richard's paranoia surged again. He began watching the staff more closely. One night, curiosity turned into suspicion. What if Maria is just better at hiding it, he wondered. After all, she was always alone, never spoke much, and never seemed tired, perhaps a sign, he thought, of someone living a double life. Rather than confront her or use conventional methods, Richard devised a test, one final trial of loyalty. One Monday morning, he made a decision that would change both their lives. He summoned the locksmith and instructed him to disable the biometric lock on his private safe in the library, a state-of-the-art vault that held over $200,000 in cash, several priceless watches, and a collection of rare black diamond cufflinks. But more importantly, it also held his late wife's wedding ring, the only item he truly treasured. Then, Richard called off all staff from the East Wing for the day, ensuring only Maria would be assigned to clean that area. Before heading out for a board meeting, he left the safe slightly ajar, just enough to catch the attention of anyone cleaning nearby. Hidden security cameras were placed strategically in the room, ready to catch every move. The trap was set. The bait was irresistible. And the clock was ticking. At 10:07 a.m., Maria entered the library. She wore her usual uniform. Neat, pressed, and modest, her hair tied back, her eyes slightly puffy from what appeared to be tears, though she wiped them quickly as she stepped in. She began dusting the bookshelves without hesitation. 10 minutes passed. Then 20. Richard, watching from his phone via a live feed in his car, leaned in. Still nothing. She didn't look toward the safe. He was almost disappointed, and then it happened. As she dusted the desk just across from the safe, her eyes caught the glint of something. Her hand paused. She turned. The safe. Slightly open. She stared at it for a moment, not moving. Richard leaned forward, heart pounding. "This is it," he whispered. Maria walked over to the safe slowly. The cameras zoomed in. She looked behind her, then gently pulled the door open further. The contents gleamed in the soft light. For 10 full seconds, she just stared. Then, she did something Richard never expected. She reached inside, not for the money, not for the watches, but for a single object, the wedding ring. She held it delicately, as though it might shatter. Her hand trembled. Then, with tears streaming down her cheeks, she whispered something the microphone didn't catch. She kissed the ring gently, and placed it back in the safe. Then, she closed the door, pressed her palm against it as if offering a prayer, and returned to cleaning. Richard, stunned, replayed the footage in silence. Who was this woman? Why the tears? Why the ring? After his meeting, he returned home, pretending nothing had happened. That evening, curiosity overcame him. He called Maria into the study. "Maria," he said carefully, "did anything unusual happen today in the library?" She froze, her eyes widening just slightly. "No, sir," she said quietly. "Just the usual." He nodded, watching her. "You're sure?" he pressed. "The safe was open," she said slowly, but I didn't touch anything, sir. Richard raised an eyebrow. Then why did the cameras catch you holding the ring? Her face turned pale. I'm sorry, she whispered. I know I shouldn't have. But, her voice broke. That ring, it reminded me of my mother's. My father died when I was 10, and she wore his ring until the day she passed. We never had much. But love was all we had. I'm sorry if I disrespected your things. She covered her face. I just missed them so much today. Richard was speechless. For a man who had built empires on logic, strategy, and ruthlessness, something inside him cracked. A memory of his late wife, their wedding day, her laughter, the same ring on her delicate hand, rushed over him like a wave. He hadn't cried in years. But now, he felt something rising he couldn't stop. Maria, he said, voice trembling, thank you. She looked up, confused. You reminded me today what that ring really means. He stood, walked to the safe, and retrieved the ring. Here, he said. Keep it with you, until I ask for it back. Her eyes widened in disbelief. Sir, I can't. You already did, he said. You held it like it was sacred. That's more than I've done in years. As she took it, hands shaking, something shifted between them, an invisible wall crumbled. That night, Richard sat alone in his vast dining room, untouched food before him, and watched the footage again. Not of Maria in the library. But of himself. The man he had become, suspicious, lonely, and cold. And for the first time in a decade, he didn't feel like a millionaire. He felt human again. But the story was not over. Because the next morning, something happened that would shake Richard to his core, something Maria had never told him. A secret hidden beneath her quiet demeanor and kind eyes. And what she was about to reveal would change everything.